From the year 1959 to 1980, there was at least one TV show in production from Quinn Martin Productions. He was born in New York City, but at age 4, he moved out to Los Angeles. Now, his dad worked as an editor and producer at MGM Studios, and he followed in his footsteps. His first job was at Desilu Studios as a producer. His biggest hit for Desilu Studios was The Untouchables, and his first wife was on the writing team of that show. But in 1960, he started Quinn Martin Productions. All of his shows started with the title of the show and the announcement, a Quinn Martin production. Some of those in the 60s would be The Fugitive, 12 O'Clock High, and The Invaders. In the 1970s, he had 3 shows running. One was Cannon, a Quinn Martin production starring William Conrad. He had a mobile phone in his car. This was the 1970s. The second was Barnaby Jones, a Quinn Martin production. This starred Buddy Epson, who was the original Tin Man until he became allergic to the makeup and Jack Haley had to step in. And it also starred Lee Merriweather, who played Catwoman in the Batman series. But my favorite is The Streets of San Francisco. It stars former and future Oscar winners Carl Malden and Michael Douglas. Carl Malden had won the Oscar for A Streetcar Named Desire, Best Supporting, and 10 years later, Michael Douglas will win the Oscar for Wall Street. Fun fact, during that show, Michael Douglas produced the Oscar-winning film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Who knew? They worked very closely with the SFPD, and Carl Malden said they were very fine fellas. He also said of working with his co-star, Michael Douglas, that he was like the son he never had. The show was sponsored by the Ford Motor Company, and if you noticed, there were a lot of Fords in the filming of that, including their unmarked police car where they would slap the siren on top. The sound stages for Streets of San Francisco were at 1855 Kearny Street, and it was shot entirely on location in this beautiful city. Now, between Cannon, Barnaby Jones, and the Streets of San Francisco, there were so many famous guest stars, I can't even begin to name them all, but just a few were Sean Penn, Tommy Lee Jones, James Woods, Margot Kidder, William Shatner, Jessica Walters, Dabney Coleman, Susan Day, Tina Louise, Cindy Williams, Roy Scheider, Leslie Nielsen, Leif Garrett, Doris Roberts, Martin Sheen, Sam Elliott, Dick Van Patten, Mark Hamill, Larry Hagman, Celeste Holm, Tyne Daly, Maureen McCormick, David Soul, Paul Michael Glaser, Robert Reed, Cheryl Ladd, Gordon Jump, John Ritter, Bill Bixby, Dean Stockwell, John Davidson. Oh, John Davidson. He played a guy that dressed up like a woman and would get in a cab, drive all over the city, stop at Golden Gate Park and murder the cab drivers. Yeah, as an 8-year-old, there were lots of questions on that one. Fun fact, one of the favorite locations of Streets of San Francisco were these apartments of the Fontanas. Now, Quinn Martin sold his production company in 1978 and he moved to Rancho Santa Fe, that's near San Diego, where he served as an adjunct professor at UC San Diego. He was the president of the La Jolla Playhouse, and he continued to develop motion pictures for Warner Brothers. This is Todd Pickering, Walk of Fame Wednesdays. I will see you next week in Hollywood. High-paced energy of San Francisco.